Hilversum is a municipality in North Holland. It is the smallest city with a population of just under 90,000 people. It is quite a hill-covered area that has easy reach to woods, forests, lakes and large green areas. Starting in the early 20th century, the name Hilversum has been connected with Dutch broadcasting. The industry has grown from its simple beginnings to the collection of broadcasting and multimedia organizations that are based there today. Hilversum is a great place for a holiday, if you are looking for something a little quieter than the bright lights of the larger cities. Not only does it have great history and entertainment, it is also surrounded by many areas of forest and heathland and has some great walking as well. It all started on a summer's day in 1959, when he was sent out by his father to fetch a bag of morning food for his chickens. At the feed boss that day, he got 2 bags shoved into his hands. Henk van der Wart had a story with one bag. He told me, "Your father's chickens only lay eggs, and do nothing else. What's in this bag is all action. Maybe it's something for you." He mentioned. Together we looked into the bag. There was a red carrier pigeon in it. "If you build a nice loft for him, he will certainly stay with you. Oh, I'll give you some special pigeon food and go and have a look at Gishardigan your street. He also has homing pigeons and I'm sure you'll want to tell them all about it," he said. From that moment, he became a pigeon fancier, and that red Belgian racer that he got from Henk van der Wart has become responsible for his successful career as a pigeon fancier, and for the creation of his pedigree. That road bells turned out to come from Georges Vase from Elsegem, who raced so hard in those years with a handful of widowers that the world-famous Gebroeders de Beer and Valier Desmet-matthijs preferred to go to a club further away, so as not to have to play against him. This small fancier, who never had more than 10 widowers, had a very strong stock built up from direct pigeons from Gebroeders de Beer and Desmet-matthijs from Nokia. These bloodlines were coupled with each other with great success. Georges bred his old basic lines and crossed them with a direct daughter of de Oud-Clorijn 46 which he bought for a small fortune in Nokia. When Georges Vase passed away in 1973, Steve van Breemen was allowed to select 15 pigeons before they were sold in his clubhouse in Kerkhove. In 1968, Steven won the Young Bird Champion of the region, and won the Big Orleans race. From 1969 to 1972, he was either first or second champion of the club in Laren out of 120 members. In 1970, Steven was regional champion over all races. In 1975, he got married to Mariki, and in 1976, he started racing youngsters where Steven still live now. Then they visited all famous fanciers in that region like Gebroeders de Beer, Desmet-matthijs, Will Eckert, André Letair, Jeff Vandenbroek, etc. In 1971, Steven got into contact with Anker and Ton. That visit changed his life and sport forever. Steven won the following: First and fifth National Ace Pigeon Youngbird 1987, First Semi-National Champion 1993, 1994 and 1996, First National Moorlancourt 2009, and 2010 until 2016. Steven shifted to short and middle distance and won the 3rd Olympiad Birds in middle distance in Brussels. Steve had all the luck in the world that he came into contact with Professor Alphonse Anker at that very time. At his home in Hungary, Steve did an internship for a week and received many lectures in the art of breeding. Professor Alphonse Anker drew up the framework for the inbreeding system where Steve's 15 grandchildren of de Oud-Clorijn van 46 were seamlessly fitted into the system, with the intention of capturing that blood by means of strong inbreeding. And that worked out wonderfully. The first important product was de Belle's H76 169 1462, a 4th WHZB Vitesse 1978, the actual progenitor of Steve breed. Almost all the children of de Oud-Clorijn were intertwined in his blood. When that was strengthened by putting a red hen of the same origin against him, bred from a full brother of Het Bork, it resulted a Bork, H78 200 265 72. Het Bork, although very strongly inbred, bred his last 3 youngsters in 1997, when he was already 19 years old. His descendants race first prizes national up to 7th generations, which made him a world-class breeder. A breed is something that can tolerate inbreeding, Pint de Weerd said. Alphonse Ankerhead told Steve countless times to get Janssen's as the first crossbreeding product. And for the top-class Janssen's, Steve only had to be a few blocks away with Jan van Erp, who owned a blue hen that always flew minutes ahead of his widowers. Among them are famous Tien, who flew 9 first prizes in big races, with even a first in the NABVP from Orleans with a long way ahead, and when Steve visited him again on a good Saturday, and that day the 08 Duif, H71 813 10-8, went with him in the pannier to the League Waterstreet. Steve never had a better one. In addition, a lot of pigeons have been obtained as a blood refreshment for the inbred stock. Only a few have really added anything to the stock. The most important of these were Het Schoenblauw, a Janssen hen from Gerrit van Maasdijk, who produced a wealth of pigeons with De Goejarling, and De Bergsduiven, originating from Dames and Son from Bevel, who did the same. De Bont Jarling, an inbred Son Goejarling. She produced 5 children who race in the first 5 national. The best Magic Olympic Grizzle, the blue-gray cock with his white head, became the best yearling in the Utrecht Olympiad, and the best pigeon in 1994 in the NABVP, one-day long-distance races. Generation after generation, Steve used inbred methods, and in the end Steve bred the birds as he had them in his mind in the beginning. Pigeons who bred after a severe selection on high results national ace pigeons and breeders in which the breeding value was present in a very high percentage. Steve van Breemen wanted to create his own strain of racing pigeons with the will to win, and carried at the same time the high breeding qualities in them, and possessed the capacity to pass those qualities on easily to the next generations. Some of his toppers: Magic Skyleader Olympiad, an L14 177 59 31. First Olympiade Duif Midfund Brussels 2017, 6th Olympiade Duif Snelheid Brussels 2017, First National Ass Duif Midfund Pipa Rankings 2016, First Ass Duif Midfund Afdeling 7 2015, First Pont Maxence against 1,494 birds, First St. Quentin against 1,013 birds, First Pont Maxence against 878 birds, and more. Messi, NL 11 153 2030. First Nivel against 10,537 birds, First Duffel against 7,580 birds, First Pomerol against 1,655 birds, First Morelincourt against 1,094 birds, and 16th NPO Morelincourt against 12,973 birds. Mastermind, NL 11 153 2142. Second Nivel against 10,537 birds, Second Duffel against 7,580 birds, Second Duffel against 1,826 birds, Second Morelincourt against 1,078 birds, Fifth Karain against 7,001 birds, and more. De Vale Posenau, NL 11 141 1791. First Menin against 851 birds, 7th Pomerol against 2,670 birds, 7th Mans against 2,362 birds, 30th NPO Chateauroux against 12,422 birds, and more. Dumoulin, NL 15 152 64 76. First Lyon against 6,424 birds, and First Nergnes against 7,135 birds. De Zebra, NL 14 177 58 22. Fourth Lyon against 1,934 birds, 6th Pont Saint Maxence against 1,593 birds, 7th Pont Saint Maxence against 1,067 birds, 9th Pont Saint Maxence against 721 birds, and more. So far the short introduction of Steve van Breemen pigeons, and the breeding methods in short of what he believed were the start of his success, which is mainly based on his own experience. Its developing played an important part in his life and lead to unbelievable results and worldwide accepted breeding methods. Thank you for watching. Until next time.